Hi, everyone. When it came to COVID-19, theaters suffered a major blow. All of them had to cease programming almost immediately and had to try to find other avenues to entertain the public, as well as keeping their checkbooks from taking a huge hit. Several local theaters have put on their thinking caps and come up with some very clever ideas, as we hinted to last week. The Lincoln Community Playhouse is currently offering parking lot plays, and here to tell us more about them is Morrie Enders. Morrie, thanks for being on. We appreciate it. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks for being on the new roundup. We appreciate it very much. It's good to see you.
I love that you're doing it. It's very important to get the word out to everyone.
Well, we're going to get the.
Thank you, Bob.
Well, I'm glad you're on, and you're welcome. Thank you. And this is a fun idea. Tell us about parking lot plays.
Well, sure. I can't take credit for it. You know, it's an adaptation of learning about what other theaters are doing during this COVID-19 time. I don't. You probably are in the same boat that we've been webinared to death. You know, about all of this stuff and about how to sanitize our theaters and all this kind of thing, and what kind of programming can we do. And as you said in the intro, we closed like most of the theaters, or I guess all the theaters in Lincoln. We lost out 3 of our major productions at the end of our season 74, and suddenly, boom, the lights are off. It's like, I mean, and I'm sure also like you and every other theater, we were I think about in our 4th version of what the season was going to be, when the edict basically came down that said just turn the lights off. So we're like, okay, well, we'll skip the season to the 9th version, which is closed. So we closed. Yeah, it's crazy. It's trying to hit a moving target, and it's just wild out here in Theaterland. So and so we were closed for a while, trying to figure out what to do. We did a series of videos to show people backstage and things. But, you know, we've been in connection with all these other community theaters around the country, and who has a plan. And in Lawrence, Kansas, I heard Theater Lawrence was going to show old movies on the side of their building. And I was like, well, that's interesting. And they were going to do people drive up in their parking lots. And then I was like, well, I don't really want to do old movies, but I kind of like the idea of the parking lot. And then Des Moines Community Playhouse decided they were going to do parking lot theater. They were going to call it drive-in theater, and people were going to come in and they were going to do 90-minute shows. And I thought, well, that seems a little too long for me to sit in the car. You know, good for them, but let's take that idea, combine it with Lawrence, then the Manly, the Loft Theater in Manly was doing old movies. And so we're contacting everybody. How are you doing this? And they're talking about this FM signal that they transmit, and they all sent me which ones they bought. So we bought one of those, and it's kind of a variation of what's been happening with a lot of church services, where they, you know, where they have the ministers out there and broadcasting on an FM signal, and the parishioners are all in the parking lot. So we kind of went with that and morphed it into our own version and decided to call it Parking Lot Plays. It's a grab bag of things. They're live entertainment as opposed to Lawrence, Kansas showing the movies, and they're shorter as opposed to the longer versions that are in Des Moines. So it's our version. It's a grab bag of little, like I call them mini cabaret performances. We have an old time radio show, and we have a melodrama, which we can get into more detail on. But I call it easing back into performance, you know, because we weren't going to be able to open the theater proper quite yet, but our actors, I know your actors, or some of them are the same actors and theater people, you know, and they're going up the walls because it's an actor's.
They want a place to perform. They want to be able to do something as well, and people want to see something other than me on Zoom.
Right, exactly. Well, it's in actors' DNA, and you know that's interesting that you bring that up, because one of the discussions that we had multiple times was, do we do plays on Zoom? Do we do plays on the internet in various ways? And we basically said no. We're just, I've said I'm an old theater guy. I'm gonna die on the hill of live performance. That's what we're here for. That's what is the energy that we all love. And that's what we're going to do. One of my
I'm with you on that because, man, you need that fourth wall, and that's the thing that everything's missing right now is having that interaction. How did you structure this? How did you go about getting? I mean, that's a lot of technical things to have to do as far as getting the radio frequencies and all of that. Was there a lot of trial and error doing that, or?
there was one trial and one big error, but the first night we tried it, we're like, good thing we didn't have anybody come because we were bad. Yeah, it was not good. But, that's why you do it. That's why you never let people come to see rehearsal, right? Because it ain't ready. So we decided that wasn't the right.
I did a show one time that had body mics, and in the middle of it, we started to hear a church sermon and somebody auctioneering something, and it was coming from the Lincoln station next door. They were on the same frequency, and so I was like, "Oh, that's new."
Our signal goes through our parking lot and to the end of Gear Library. And so I'm going to assume it goes, in a circle around that same kind of area. So it doesn't go very far, but it's a nice, strong signal. We worked it all out. I had to buy a new soundboard is what happened. So to fix that problem. So we have a new little mini soundboard, which I'm like, okay, that'll end up going in the studio theater later and be the new soundboard for the studio. So it's all good. But yeah, so we did some tech rehearsals with our singers, with our radio show and with the melodrama, and it's all working great. So
let's take a closer look at some of the events being offered during parking lot plays. Here's a look at some of the events that are going to be taking place, including the Landis Family Band, the youth old-time radio performance, the Wright Brothers. Vocalist Sandy Van Pelt will be performing along with the Gingers and Tonics. You can enjoy a melodrama by John Burkhart called Shootout at Sadie's Saloon. There's more events taking place during the month of August as well. You can log on to the website for a complete lineup at lincolnplayhouse.com. or give them a call at 402-489-7529. I kind of tell people we're kind of taking baby steps right now. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, here's the thing with the whole idea of easing back into performance. Part of the reason we did this was not only to give our people a chance to perform again, but to give the audience a chance to come and see a live event again. Because we're just, there's only so much time, as Lynn Leach said there, he was so happy that I called him to give him a chance to get out of the basement. I mean, it's just so, we've just been
which is weird because that has nothing to do with COVID. That's just where Lynn likes to spend his time.
Well,
if I had Lynn's house, I'd stay at home too, but that's all right.
Yeah. So it was the idea of getting people back into the habit of going out to an event. It also is the idea to give us the light at the end of the tunnel, hopefully, that we will get through this. And theater and other performing arts will be part of the recovery process. So we have been inside our houses too long. And I mean, I watched some of the stuff on television, the National Theater, Great Britain, the Shakespeare's Globe, and I watched Hamilton last week. And, I had never seen Hamilton. I vowed I would probably be the last theater person in Nebraska to see Hamilton, but I saw it on television, right?
Morrie, you know what's interesting? I had never seen it. And I thought to myself when I was watching it, I said, I bet I'm the only guy in theater who's never seen Hamilton. So let's start a club.
What did you watch it?
What's that?
What day did you watch it?
I watched it on July 3rd when it came out that night.
I beat you. I am the last person to watch it because I saw it July 4th.
Okay. That's good. Good. Well, I appreciate you being on.
Absolutely. Thanks, Bob.
Fun.
And again, I want to thank you for bringing the Roundup back because it really is important to get the information out to the people who are interested in the arts of what's happening in Lincoln, especially right now when we're a little scattered and we got to bring all the family members back together.
I appreciate it. And I appreciate the longer conversation so our audiences get to know our guests more. And I think that's really important. And we're all...
And we can sidestep to, 10 minutes on Hamilton. So
yeah, that's good. That's good. Here's the roundup. Mike Zito will be performing at the Zoo Bar in downtown Lincoln Tuesday and Wednesday night. Log on to zoobar.com for more information. Ta-da Stock, an outdoor musical celebration, is taking place at the Millette Telegraph. Enjoy this great lineup of talent. That's one night only, July 18th. Gates open at 6 o'clock p.m. and the show is at 7 o'clock p.m. TadaProductions.info is the website to get your tickets. The Leeds Center continues their series, Music on the Move, taking place at a variety of neighborhoods Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. until 8:30 p.m. You can log on to the website right there on the screen for more information. The Farmers Market will take place in Lincoln's Haymarket Saturday morning. Put on your social distancing hat and be kind to one another. The Toasted Ponies performs at Deer Springs Winery. That's July 10th at 7 o'clock p.m. And our friends over at the Lincoln Children's Zoo have a lot of things going on for the family. Log on to their website, lincolnzoo.org. Also, if you attend an event or go to a bar to hear a band or anything like that, please do so wisely. Be smart like you're playing darts. If you'd like to have your event mentioned on Rook's Entertainment Roundup, please send them to us at least 2 weeks in advance to rooksroundup@gmail.com, and we'll try our best to share them on the program. And that's the roundup for now. I want to thank you for watching this episode of Rook's Entertainment Roundup and my guest, Morrie Enders. Until next time, have an entertaining weekend.